Why can computers understand us? Let's find out why in this video. All right, what is machine language? So let's explore what is machine language. So it's based on instruction list or IL. It's the alphabet of the machine language, and it's the computer's mother tongue. And it's very far from human language, and it's hard for humans to write directly. By the way, my name is Umar, and I'll be learning a lot of stuff. So need for a bridge between human languages and machine languages. So humans, they need a language that they can read and write and understand. And computers, they need something simpler than natural language. So what is the solution? High-level programming languages. So what are high-level languages? They use symbols and words that humans can understand, and they allow much more complex commands than IL or instruction lists. And programs written here are often called source code. So basically, if you write a program or a code, in high-level languages like Python, Java, whatever, then basically that call it a source code. And source code, it's stored in source files. All right, compilation versus interpretation. How do we run source code? We must translate it into machine language. There are two methods, compilation and interpretation. So what is compilation? So the source program is translated once. And the output, basically it outputs a .exe file or similar, and it can be shared worldwide. And here the tool that we use is a compiler or a translator. So basically, what I mean by it can be shared worldwide is basically anyone can make a video and upload it, and it can be shared worldwide. And yeah, that's exactly how compilation works. So what is interpretation? So the source program is translated each time it runs. So basically, it's going to analyze each line. And the tool here that we use is interpreter. And the end user also needs the interpreter. And it cannot just distribute raw source code. So what is the difference? So in short, so compilation is basically a one-time translation, and it's reusable. And interpretation is it's repeated translation over and over again, and we need an interpreter for it. And languages, they are usually designed to be either compiled or interpreted. And languages are not designed to be compiled and interpreted. It's just either of them. All right, what does the interpreter do? So the interpreter, it reads the source code line by line. It checks for errors. It checks alphabet, the lexicon, the syntax, and semantics. If there's an error, then it stops and immediately shows an error message. Just like how in Java, if you write an incorrect code, then it's gonna display an error message. So that is exactly how the interpreter works, So if the code or the program is written correctly, then it executes the valid lines immediately. So the error handling. So error messages may not point to the real cause. So basically, what I mean by that is whenever you write a code and then you made a mistake in it, sometimes it points to where the error actually is, but sometimes it's misleading. So for example, it says that you made an error on line 11, but actually the error was on line 10 or line 9 or line 8. So yeah, this is the problem. So interpreter, it runs until it hits an error. All right, this is how the execution cycle goes by. So for each line, it reads, it checks for any errors, and if there aren't any, it executes immediately. And some lines they run multiple times, like loops and conditions. Just like how there are loops and conditions in Java, there are also loops and conditions in Python. So we're going to be exploring them deeper in another video. All right, there's no perfect answer. So which is better, compiler or interpreter? Both have advantages and disadvantages. That's why both models still exist today. Okay, now let's explore the advantages and disadvantages of compilation. All right, so what are the advantages? The execution is usually faster. Only the user needs the compiler. The end user, he can run the code freely. The machine code storage keeps programming tricks secret. And the disadvantages. Compilation takes time. It's slower to test changes. And we need a compiler for every hardware platform. The advantages and disadvantages of interpretation. So let's explore the advantages. We can run code immediately right after writing. There are no extra steps. And it works across different machine languages. And we don't need to compile again, meaning no recompile needed. And the disadvantages. It's slower. The code shares power with interpreter, and both you and end user must have the interpreter. All right, Python's case. Python is an interpreted language, and it needs the Python interpreter to run. And it's absolutely free to use, and it's often called a scripting language because you write scripts and programs in it. That's right. All right, now let's make a final recap of what we learned today. So, machine language instruction list is a computer's mother tongue. A need for high-level languages, like a bridge. It's a bridge between humans and machines. High-level languages, they're readable by humans, and it can be turned into source code, meaning if you write like a program, in a high-level language, it's a source code. And a source code and the machine code, both of them must be translated. That's why there are two methods. Compilation, one-time translation, and a faster execution. Interpretation, line-by-line execution, portable but slower. So what is the role of the interpreter? It reads, checks, executes the code step by step. And if there are any errors, then they are sometimes misleading, but it's a part of coding. The advantages and disadvantages, both methods have strengths and weaknesses. And Python's place, it's interpreted, it's free, and beginner friendly. And yeah, guys, that was it for today's videos. I hope you liked this tutorial. So please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.